Hello, and welcome to English Fluency Now podcast episode number 54. My name is Lisa, and this is the English Fluency Now podcast, a podcast which will help you improve your English by listening to authentic English spoken by American English speakers. The podcast covers topics related to everyday life, business, education, travel, and a variety of other interesting topics. To get the lesson guide for this episode, go to my website, www.englishfluencynow.com, and click on the products page. The lesson guide has the complete transcript so you can read along while you listen. It also has other helpful learning materials such as comprehension questions, definitions for more than 25 vocabulary words used in the podcast, and sample sentences, and links to more videos and articles related to today's topic. Also, on the website, you can sign up for my free email course, 7 Strategies for English Fluency. The course gives you 7 lessons about things you need to do to become fluent in English. Okay, let's begin. In today's episode, I want to tell you about a book that I recently read called Talent is Overrated: What Really Separates World-Class Performers from Everybody Else by Jeff Colvin. According to his website, Colvin is an award-winning thinker, author, and speaker on today's significant trends in business. He is the editor of Fortune magazine and one of America's most respected commentators on leadership, globalization, wealth creation, and related issues. In his book, Talent is Overrated, he discusses the research behind excellence and expertise in a variety of disciplines, including sports, music, and mathematics. The main question that he grapples with in this book is the origin of excellence. Where does it come from? Why do some people excel while others do not? Why are there so few truly extraordinary achievers? Why do some athletes become super successful while others don't? Why do some people eventually achieve greatness despite mediocre skills in their early years? Why does it appear that some people are born with special skills or talents? Do genes matter? Can you create a genius? What are the key factors involved in becoming excellent in your chosen field? In the beginning of his book, Colvin writes, "Look around you. Look at your friends, your relatives, your coworkers, the people you meet when you shop or go to a party. How do they spend their days? Most of them work. They all do many other things as well, playing sports, performing music, pursuing hobbies, doing public service. Now, ask yourself honestly, how well do they do what they do? The most likely answer is that they do it fine. They do it well enough to keep doing it. At work, they don't get fired and probably get promoted a number of times. They play sports or pursue their other interests well enough to enjoy them. But the odds are that few, if any, of the people around you are truly great at what they do. Awesomely, amazingly, world-class excellent. Why? Exactly why aren't they? Why don't they manage businesses like Jack Welch or Andy Grove, or play golf like Tiger Woods, or play the violin like Itzhak Perlman? After all, most of them are good, conscientious people, and they probably work diligently. Some of them have been at it for a very long time, 20, 30, 40 years. Why isn't that enough to make them great performers? It clearly isn't. The hard truth is that virtually none of them has achieved greatness or come even close, and only a tiny few ever will. This is a mystery so commonplace that we scarcely notice it, yet it's critically important to the success or failure of our organizations, the causes we believe in, and our own lives. By reviewing the research into excellence and the factors that are involved in becoming a world-class performer, Colvin uncovers some truths that contradict long-held beliefs about talent and success. In the past, people believed that you were simply born smart or gifted or with a special talent or skill, and that was the only reason why some people became truly successful or achieved excellence in their particular endeavors. They were born that way. If you aren't born talented or gifted, then sure, you may become an accomplished musician, athlete, doctor, scientist, or whatever, but you will never achieve true greatness. You will never be the best. You won't win the gold medal, receive a Nobel Prize, or be featured as a titan on Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people in the world. That was the old belief. The research shows, however, that this isn't quite true. Surely, there are people who show a special interest in a topic, such as art, music, dance, sports, math, history, or even business and entrepreneurship at a young age. But just having that interest doesn't guarantee future greatness. To truly master a skill requires time and effort, otherwise known as practice. You may have heard the saying, practice makes perfect, but it isn't just practice that will help you become a world-class golfer, violinist, or tennis player. Lots of golfers, violinists, or tennis players practice their craft. They spend years practicing, in fact. So what makes the difference between player A and player B? Colvin cites research by Professor Anders Ericsson that shows that what distinguishes the top-performing violinists from other skilled violinists involves two things: time and style. All violinists agreed that practicing on their own was how they got better. But the highest performing violinists out-practiced the others by a great deal. In fact, by age 18, the top violinists had already racked up 7,410 hours of lifetime solo practice, while the average performers had 3,420 hours of practice behind them. Based on their research, Ericsson and his co-authors put forward a very simple concept. The differences between expert performers and normal adults reflect a lifelong period of deliberate effort to improve performance in a specific domain. Deliberate practice is the key, the secret sauce. Deliberate practice is described as a very intensive and specific type of development activity that is designed to help you improve, to push you to go beyond your current skill level. Rather than simply practicing songs that you already know, for instance, you challenge yourself to learn new songs or to perfect specific skills related to a song or a technique. Deliberate practice is characterized by several essential elements. Number 1, practice is designed specifically to improve performance. Rather than practicing skills they have already mastered, top performers work with a coach that will help him or her make a plan for what to practice, for how long, and exactly how. Working with an expert helps the person know exactly what they need to do next in their learning process, always pushing the learner from the comfort zone into the learning zone until mastery is achieved. People who do not work with a specific method or with a coach usually don't know exactly what to do to get better. They may practice and even improve, but it isn't in a planned, concentrated, and precise way, taking you from one skill level to the next. Number 2, repetition. Deliberate practice includes lots and lots of repeated actions. Whether it means hitting a golf ball 1,000 times in a day, practicing musical scales for an hour, or writing and rewriting an essay several times, You must repeat the skill you are learning over and over again. Number 3, feedback. It is important to get feedback from a qualified person, not just your parents, your spouse, or your friends. You need a coach, a teacher, or some type of expert to give you feedback so that you can know how you are doing and know what you need to change to do even better. Number 4, deliberate practice is very highly demanding mentally. It takes focus and concentration. Even professionals can only keep this type of practice up for about 4 to 5 hours per day at the most. Number 5, deliberate practice may not always be much fun. It can be boring and tedious to keep practicing the same thing over and over again. Doing deliberate practice, focusing on a specific skill you want to improve, like a backhand swing for a tennis player, takes time and it may not be the funnest thing to do, but it will get you where you want to go. So even though top athletes, musicians, and other world-class performers may undergo grueling workouts, it is all in the service of reaching their final goal, which is the fun part. Putting in the actual hours may not always be fun, but the results are. Deliberate practice is what separates the average performers from the top performers. But why are some people willing to put in these long, hard hours and others aren't? It comes down to motivation. Towards the end of his book, Colvin talks about the ideas of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is the personal motivation that you have inside of you without anybody telling you what to do. You want to do it because you do, because you love it, for whatever reason. Extrinsic motivation is something that comes from outside of you. You do something because you will receive a reward, a prize, some money, or love from your parents. Some people are born with special interests or propensities, but not everyone will reach high levels in those areas. Just because you show an interest in art at an early age, drawing all the time, and drawing at an advanced level for your age, doesn't guarantee future success in art. Colvin does give examples of how some children have been raised to be child prodigies, such as the Polgar sisters who were trained in chess and became grand masters. These children follow their parents' instructions, work with private coaches and teachers at early ages, and do achieve high levels of competence. But not all child prodigies turn into adult experts. So while it is possible to develop a high level of skill in a certain area, in order to continue on at a high level, you must become intrinsically motivated. You must really have the drive and the willingness to stick with it over many years. By the end of the book, the question is still up in the air as to why some people are intrinsically motivated to achieve world-class excellence and others aren't. The majority of people in the world do not become experts. But for those who do have a strong desire or passion, that intrinsic motivation, Colvin does answer the question of how one can reach high levels of expertise. Deliberate practice over many years. In terms of language learning, it is true that those students who are intrinsically motivated and willing to put in the hours of deliberate practice do reach higher levels of fluency and master the language more easily. If you follow the many YouTube polyglots, you will see that they truly love learning languages. They are highly motivated to learn and spend hours and hours and hours working with their target languages. If you want to improve your English, make sure to find out whether or not you are intrinsically motivated. If you aren't, you may want to figure out if you can be, or you may want to work with some extrinsic motivation tools, like treating yourself to something special after a certain period of practice. The more you truly want to learn English, the more time and effort you'll put in. Also, make sure you are using some good methods and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone into the learning zone. If you want to go from intermediate to advanced, you need to keep challenging yourself with new materials, new words, new expressions, different ways of saying things, speaking about a variety of topics, etc. Now that you know what to do, you get to make the choice. You can stop saying that you don't have the language gene because it doesn't exist. I would love to hear what you think about this idea of talent being overrated and the fact that to become an expert, you must engage in deliberate practice. Do you have any experience with this? You can post on the blog post page for this podcast episode. Thanks. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for listening to the English Fluency Now podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it. Remember, repetition is key, so I recommend that you listen to the podcast several times over the next few days. Get the lesson guide if you want to read along with the transcript, and use this podcast to study this topic in more depth. If you want to improve your speaking skills, pick up a copy of my course, Success with Stories. It trains you to speak English automatically, without thinking and without translating in your head. You can find out more about the Success with Stories course and listen to some sample lessons at www.englishfluencynow.com. Thank you, and until next time, be well.